Board of Commissioners. Today is Tuesday, August the 12th, the time 6:02 p.m. I'm calling the meeting to order. I ask that you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Smith.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Ackrey?
Here.
Commissioner Downing? Commissioner Smith? Here. Commissioner Tebby?
Here.
Mayor Washington?
Here.
We have our quorum and are duly qualified to conduct business.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to dispense with the reading and approve the minutes from July 15th, 2025. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Vice Mayor Smith,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Tebby. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next portion of our meeting will be public comments. It is our goal of the City of Covington to provide a forum for discussion. Members of the public, prior to the beginning of this meeting, were welcome to sign up for a chance to be recognized for a period of 3 minutes. Speakers are selected for public comment based on the priority of first come, first serve on the sign-up sheet. Per the Board of Commissioners meeting rules of procedure, the public comment portion of the meeting as a whole is limited to 30 minutes. And while points of clarification may be requested, it is not customary for the members of this body to respond to public comments immediately. Tonight, I feel it is important to reiterate the comments I made during last week's caucus meeting regarding the incident that occurred on the Roebling Suspension Bridge. As I shared last week, an internal affairs investigation is underway into our police department's response. This review will take as long as needed because the matter deserves to be handled in a professional, fair, and thorough manner. It is my understanding that investigators have already begun the extensive process of interviewing those involved and reviewing hundreds of hours of body camera footage. On the night of the incident, nearly 50 officers were present, and each of their body cameras recordings must be reviewed. Before any of that footage can be released, it must first be redacted to remove personal identifying information. Once that process is complete, all available body camera footage from the Roebling incident will be made public as requested. We remain committed to being as transparent as possible with the findings. That's why I have personally requested that Chief Weholter present the investigation's results during a public commission meeting, where he can share the findings. To our residents, I ask for your patience while we work through this process. Transparency and accountability are what you deserve, and that's exactly what we intend to deliver. On another note, the DORA was supposed to be voted on tonight. That's going to be postponed to the next legislative session. I realize that we have two people that may want to talk about DORA, but just to let you know, it's not going to be taken up tonight. It will be the next session, but you're still welcome to talk now or the next time. So hearing that, ask Mr. Phillips to please come to the podium and give his address, please.
Samuel T. Phillips, 2250 Jane Lane, Covington, Kentucky. I appreciate, I'm going to let the record show that I appreciate the council releasing the footage in the future. But I wanted to make sure that it is not lost upon us that the 2 days before in these halls, we, the people, presented the commission and mayor with opportunities to support Ayman Solomon to act in kind, offering a multitude of avenues to move amongst the peaceful who gathered and marched the Roebling Bridge. Rather, the very people supporting the liberty and justice of the man we urged this commission to support our love for were greeted with the likes of a violence I have never seen that this soon-to-be council deforms language to protect. And there needs to be shame that is felt in this. We recognize this police violence as an extension of this governing body's failure to say no more, ruthless maulings, tasings, pepper ball sprayings, and the weaponizing of animals on the very people you are meant to protect, envisioning a more understanding Covington beyond the one we wade through now. This July 17th will be a day this council must condemn, reshaping the safety kept for folks in our city by reforming the methods of these brutes acting in unison, because this is not protection. And we are not safe here. This is intimidation. Be thankful of this rising shame in this room. The shame in recognizing our blue city marooned by a red state giving birth to our elevating voice as beacons of truth beyond. The shames in silently sitting as triple threats to this red state garnering our terror and condemnation of this brutality. The shame so we may fathom our visions together after witnessing the police violence we seek to reform. The shame carrying the legacies of our sworn veterans to protect the people hushed beside this fellowship. The shame with enough guts to say no more, speaking in the face of concerned constituents, rather fostering a shoulder to denounce threats of planted authoritarianism nurtured by a rested tongue. Allow shame to harrow empathy so we may move with peace. Censure silence as violence and a disservice to this daily village. And invite the season of righteous, peaceful resistance. Let us hope we blaze a pathway to heal these wounds festering and freshly reopened. Until then, get up for the people, stand firm, and represent our bravery. And I forgot to start with my land acknowledgement, but we, the people of Covington, gratefully acknowledge the Native nations of Turtle Island, on whose ancestral homeland we gather, as well as the diverse and vibrant indigenous communities who make their home here today, not limited to the Cherokee, Hopi, Chickasaw, Shawnee, Lenni Lenape, Miami, Osage, Chippewa, Shoshone, Grass Folks, and Choctaw Nations, Anishinaabe peoples. Land back. Thank you for listening. I hope we can build this city, rebuild this city after this bridge happening. Okay. Bridge violence. Thanks.
Next,
Thank you.
next speaker will be Missy Spears. Can you please come up and tell us where you live at, please?
I won't even say that I live in your dreams, Ron.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Missy.
I said I won't even say that I live in your dreams. My name is Missy Spears. I live at 834 Philadelphia Street. First, I want to start out by saying something that I've shared with some of you privately. But even when we differ on issues, I know at our core that we do all want what's best for Covington. When I look up here, I voted for 4 of you. The only one I didn't was James, and I think I've spent more time with you than maybe anyone this year. So I just want to let you know that, like, even though we may differ on issues, that this is what has been in my mind as I've been thinking about this issue. And that issue is the violent police response that we saw on July 17th on the Roebling Bridge. And let me be clear, I'm not standing here to demand that anyone gets fired. I am asking you to stand with us to protect the reputation of the Covington Police, to ensure community safety, to create a citywide focus on de-escalation, and to work together so that violence responses are not normalized right now. I've lived in Covington for almost 17 years, and I've been a vocal supporter of our police force, especially when we had a former chief, Spike Jones. Spike Jones set the standard by treating protesters as people first, and he went as far as to lend a protester his own bullhorn because their batteries ran out. And how have we gone from that, giving protesters tools so they can speak louder, to violently attacking unarmed, peaceful people on the bridge? And so I just want to talk about what happened. These were unarmed, peaceful protesters. They were not taking the bridge. Everyone was actively moving to complete their walk. And when the cops arrived, there was 1 lane of traffic moving. These were our neighbors, citizens, people that voted for you. And there are dozens of videos showing from every angle that these folks are walking towards the end of the bridge. Nobody was taking the bridge. So I ask you, is all of this wasted time and taxpayer money and bad press and putting cops on leave really a better decision than letting them walk the extra 5 minutes to get to the end of the bridge? And if so, why isn't that being talked about? Because the conversations I hear from the police and our city officials is normalizing the decisions that were made that day and making it okay for this to happen again. That instead of choosing the safe route, which would have been allowing protesters to finish their walk before either arresting, ticketing, or just letting them leave, we are normalizing the choice to approach in numbers with aggression and appearing to completely cut off their path, creating a more dangerous situation. We are normalizing intimidation over cooperation, with so many cop cars greeting the citizens that the entire bridge was shut down at that point. We are normalizing only 15 seconds of warning before being detained. And more importantly, we are saying that it's okay for the Covington Police Force, who we trust with our lives, to walk into a situation, choose to create chaos and panic on a bridge 100 feet above the ground, and then completely blame everyone else when they are now forced to deal with 100 panicked citizens freaked out above water. When you want people to remain calm on a bridge, you do not show up with military force. When you want people to remain calm on a bridge, you do not arrest your first person within 15 seconds. Nobody had a second to form a thought because everyone's brains were figuring out if they were in a fight or flight situation.
Thank you, Mrs. Spears.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker would be Mohammed Ahmad.
Good evening, Commissioners. Mohammed Ahmad, 729 Edgecliff Road here in Covington. Mayor, it's been a while since we spoke. You missed a lot, obviously, which you filled us in on. How fittingly that just 2 days after I exposed your hypocrisy towards public safety and keeping Covington safe, while you ideologically align yourself with the likes of Steve Frank and his genocidal Zionist ideology, the Covington police proved my point on the Roebling Bridge, as mentioned on the 17th, when I, in person, saw the most vicious and traumatizing violence that I've ever seen in my life. Emphasis on in person, because I have seen much worse violence from afar in Gaza that you don't care about. But I'm not going to debate what happened and who did what, because I'm not beating on a dead horse at this point. You have your narrative on what happened, and that's fine, but just consider this for a minute. When Officer Staten was violently punching Brandon Hill in the head over and over and over again, be honest with me, would you ever treat an animal like that? Would you ever punch a pet, whether it's a dog or a cat, the way that you punched, or I'm sorry, that the officer punched Brandon Hill, and the way that other officers use clearly excessive force? But here you are, Mayor, talking about human rights and freedom and the rule of law, and Covington being a so-called city of tolerance, but yet you can condone treating your own citizens like me and other tri-state residents like animals, if not worse. But here's the thing. None of this, Mayor, is surprising to me, because I've seen you and the police department building up to this moment. I saw it every time we filled this room last year with people supporting a ceasefire resolution, when you, conversely, with Mayor Meyer, filled the room with police because of, you know, who telling you to do that. But anyways, I saw it when you also took photos of us protesting for Palestine from your pickup truck at Global Park last February, as if you were reliving your, heydays as a Florence police officer. And that same day, I also saw when officers behaved very aggressively as we marched throughout the city, despite the fact no one broke any laws, nobody was arrested, and there was a permit with cooperation with the city. I saw it when you had officers on the roof of City Hall, this building, with scopes as we peacefully stood at the turnpike, again, emphasis on peacefully, protesting Israel's invasion of Rafah, a city that no longer exists because of the genocide we're watching. And I've seen it time and time and time and time again. For the last 20 or so months, we've seen, Mayor, how you have treated peaceful protesters. When you lashed out at me the other week because I played a recording of your complicity in this genocide, you took it personal because you couldn't help the fact that you got mad that I exposed you for who you are. And that's why you couldn't look me in the eye, and that's why you can barely look me in the eye right now. You're not capable of being authentic even if you tried, because you've been propagandized, militarized, traumatized, and dehumanized by the same institutions that you proudly serve in the name of said violence, all because Steve Frank fills your ears with lies that people like me are all Hamas, and that pushes you to act authoritarian. So do right by yourself in the city. Hold the officers on the Roebling Bridge accountable, including Officer Staten, and free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
I would like to remind the audience that if you signed up, you're more than welcome to talk, but please don't yell out from the seats. Thank you. Next speaker would be Ann Mitchell.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Ann Mitchell. I live at 215 Kentucky Avenue. I've lived in Covington since 1981, and I'm proud to say that I've been active in helping to create a safe, welcoming, inclusive community here. I was brokenhearted to see the actions on the bridge on July 17th. This is a challenging time in our country, and it's important that people feel they can exercise their constitutional rights, as the NAACP did in 1983 when they marched across the bridge in support of voter rights, and as a group I led in speaking out on No King's Day did at the foot of the bridge on June 14th. When the Cincinnati protesters tried to march across the bridge, they were wrong to block traffic, but they were not a dangerous, threatening mob. They were expressing their concerns, and they made mistakes. I know that this is all under review, but watching the video, the police response was an undeniable overreaction. Our Covington police can be better than that. Our police can behave professionally and keep building a better community. I've known great Covington officers like Richard Wagner and Jimmy Isaacs, the officer who came to check on our protest in June, and the officers who regularly liaise with our neighborhood association. We need reassurance that all our officers know what constitutes good policing as well as what is not good policing. We can't let the scary crime narrative currently being used to promote a political agenda get normalized. The police have to the police need to establish a plan that allows all officers understand and that can be shared with the public, a plan that allows protest and protected speech without violence. This is a time of unrest. These things are going to happen again. I hope that we'll be prepared. Thank you.
The next speaker will be Dr. James Schaefer.
Somewhat less weighty matters. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, for your time and your service. My name is James Schaefer. For those of you who don't know me, I live right across from City Hall at 19 West Pike Street with my lovely wife, Jordan Trevelyan. It is both our home and our business, and it would be entirely encompassed by the proposed entertainment district. We're here to speak in opposition to it as it's currently formulated. And this isn't to say that sort of we want downtown to become the suburbs. We know that's kind of the narrative. And the truth is that we think that this is a solution in want of a problem. We understand everyone being afraid that we're going to be left behind by other sort of places in the region. But the truth is that downtown Covington is the envy of all of these spaces. We have the hotel, which is where rock stars and celebrities stay when they come to town. We have bars and restaurants that are the equal of Hyde Park and downtown Cincinnati. And we have a magic shop that people come from hundreds of miles away to visit and see the rest of Covington. We think all of that is at risk with the proposed entertainment district. And that's not to say that entertainment districts don't have utility. Daytime districts have done really well in sort of resort towns, places where there's high retail density. People can have drinks and wander around and buy a bunch of different stuff. That just doesn't really fit what Covington is. Realistically, the shop that would benefit the most would be my own, and I just don't really want people to be spilling their Solo cups on my cats. The other model, the one that I think we're more familiar with, is the idea of Dora's as places where people go to drink and party and drink and get rowdy and kind of drink and be rambunctious. And there is nothing wrong with places like that. That is just not a good fit for the wonderful organic organic sort of mix of residential and retail that has grown up right here. The downside to them is that there's a cost. Yes, they're going to increase the sales of alcohol by 5 or 10%, but that's going to be offset by the cost of policing, by the cost of vandalism, by the cost of litter. And more importantly, the thing that's really difficult to put a price on is the cost to reputation. I don't need to tell all of you just how far Covington has come. We see people who come into the shop every week who say, 20 years ago, I got out of Covington. That place was scary. It was dangerous. And they come back and we say, look, there's Italian ice cream here. There's a cat cafe. And they're shocked and they love it. But this specter still lingers. And I think we only need to look across the river to the banks to see what happens when you have a post every week or every 2 weeks on social media. People are scared. Whether they should be or not, it doesn't really matter. It means that they don't want to go to those places. And that's going to be true for the people in the suburbs around Covington as well. I would give another example. The Arcade Music Festival this past weekend. It was a success. People came down. They had a good time. The story which has got traction on social media isn't related to any of that. It's related to the break-in at Ripple. It's been shared hundreds of times. It's been seen by tens of thousands of people. We've gotten phone calls from Nashville being like, hey, can I still bring my family up to your magic shop? Is it going to be safe? That's how quickly those scales can tip. And I understand that there's a major stakeholder in Hotel Covington that is sort of in favor of this. In talking to them, they're in favor of really not something this large. They'd like people to be able to go from their various venues. That could be achieved, even though I don't think kind of any entertainment district is necessary, to have one that's smaller just from East Pike down to Covington. Thank you for your time. And remember that it's easier to prepare.
Thank you. Next speaker is Casey Kuziak. I may have mispronounced your name. You're good? Okay. All right. Thank you. That concludes the section on our agenda for public comments. Now we're moving on to presentations. Linden Grove Cemetery Board of Overseers update. Pete Nerone. Pete?
Mayor and Commissioners, thank you for inviting me tonight, and thank you for your ongoing support for the preservation of Linden Grove Cemetery. And so I know that we are supposed to come in and give you an update every year, and I realize that might not have happened the last 2 years. And I apologize on behalf of the board for that oversight. But we had a small period of turnover on the board. I tried to retire from it, and if I was on the board when Jerry Stricker was a commissioner sitting up there with you. So it's a long time, but right after I left the board, there were a few other people that had unfortunate circumstances that also left, and it got down to a point where they couldn't get a quorum. We are back to just shy of one appointment from the city and one appointment from the county. So we have 7 of the 9 currently working. We work on an annual budget of this year is $140,000, and that's made up of $60,000 from the county, $60,000 from the city, and $20,000 generated organically. Some of it off of the small investment fund that we have in a perpetual care trust fund, and the rest of it off of a small amount of cemetery operations, open burials. We have very limited space for burials. We have the opportunity with a grading project. There's money set aside by the county, and we were able to affirm that that money is still there. We're waiting on the permitting to be completed and the grading plan to be completed, and hope to embark on that sometime later in this fall, early winter, to get that part of it done. That'll allow us to open up new grave spaces, but realistically, even if we sold right away all of that new opportunity and put all of that money into the perpetual care fund, it would not be enough to completely pay for cemetery support going forward. So we're always going to be, as far as we can see right now, reliant on the people's tax money to help support that. People may wonder, why is the cemetery the public's concern? Why is this the taxpayers' responsibility? And it goes back to a long history of missed opportunities in the management of the cemetery. It was begun by the Western Baptist Theological Institute that had a rift in it leading up to the Civil War, and it caused the seminary to split, and ownership of the cemetery was lost in that process. A land speculator named Samuel Walker acquired the deed to it, but that meant that a lot of the money from the burials went to paying him back for his investment. And then he disappeared from the scene, and it just kind of languished for a while. And in 1948, the descendants of John Menzies, who was the last of the 4 congressmen that's buried in Linden Grove Cemetery, he was the last one, but his descendants sued in court to have the cemetery put in receivership. And once the cemetery is put into receivership, it becomes the responsibility of the local government to maintain that cemetery. That's the way the Kentucky law is. That happened in 1948, and it languished for a long time until 1998. Judge Douglas Stevens called the city and county together and said, you need to set up an official agreement on how you're going to maintain this. And that resulted in an interlocal agreement between the city and the county. And that agreement has served well for better part of 27 years right now. So we're very grateful for that, for that agreement to be in place and for the city and county's ongoing support. Since it is a public asset, we do wish to always respect the dignity of the people that are buried there. That's first and foremost our top priority. But at the same time, that area is very deficient in green space, in tree canopy, in pervious surfaces. It serves as a very important environmental protection for the urban community around it. This was pointed out in a small area study that Sharmali Reddy, who you're well familiar with, was one of the lead planners on that small area study back in 2008, and that's how I got involved with the cemetery. I was working on that study with her as one of the community members in there. And it did point out the deficiencies in the area of tree canopy and the heat island effect and the worse air quality that comes with not having enough tree canopy and having too much impervious surface in the community and not enough green space for people. So we've tried to maintain it as a passive recreational opportunity for people. We constantly see an increase in the number of people walking, coming in there just to eat a bag lunch or meditate for a while, whatever the case may be. It's also an educational opportunity. And Mayor, please remind me on time if I get close to the limit. But it's also an educational opportunity. We were able to get to Arboretum status. We're currently at level 1 Arboretum status. There's 4 levels. We're close to getting accredited at level 2. The difference is having more open opportunities where we lead educational tours of the tree canopy. And we've been able to do some of that with the urban forestry and the city arborist, to have a once or twice a year a walking tour through the cemetery to identify different tree species that are unique to our area. We had a project where we were able to put markers on 140 trees where it indicates the species on there. And there's actually a little QR code on the sign you can hit with your phone, and it takes you into our database. And that database tells you the whole history of that tree, the ongoing maintenance that we do with it, approximately how old it is, what species it is, etc. So we have that for 140 trees right now that are marked. We'll continue to expand that as we're able to going forward. And we started doing the same thing with notable graves. And there right now we have signage on 10 notable graves. I included write-ups on a few of them in the back of this packet that are there. There's One we haven't marked yet, but is on the list for the second round, and that's a Covington police officer named William Big Mox McQuarrie. William McQuarrie was a professional baseball player who set aside his baseball career to take up the call of being a public servant, and was a Covington police officer. He was the first of the city of Covington police officers killed in the line of duty. And that was trying to apprehend two murderers as they fled across the suspension bridge, the Roebling Bridge. He was shot in the chest and killed there. So he's one of the many that are there. We have a great number of veterans that are buried there. We have one who unfortunately is in the Pacific Ocean, named Captain Henry Stober. And I included him in the back of the packet also, information about him. He was a priest from the city, from the local community that volunteered to be a chaplain in World War II. And he was, along with Alvin Powlite, the great doctor from the area, was captured when the Philippines fell to the Japanese, and survived the Bataan Death March, and was credited with saving many, many lives during that march. But he did not make it to come home by the end of the war. And he was on a ship that was sunk in the Pacific Ocean. So we would like to honor him at some point as well, and be able to tell that story. So these are just a few of the things about Linden Grove that make it a special place, and open up the educational opportunities that we think would somewhat reward the citizens of the area for the investment they make in helping us maintain it. So I'll open to any questions that you have. I certainly appreciate your time.
Any questions for Mr. Nerone? Pete, just a comment. Thank you for always raising your hand and volunteering on this committee in DeVue Park. We appreciate your service to our city. I will say that I find it very interesting about the notable people that you want to recognize. We have a new communications manager, and I would love for the city to talk about this and showcase the cemetery. I think that's one way we can get notoriety to it. A lot of interesting stories there.
We would love that opportunity.
So,
yeah, and the Covington branch of the Kent County Library is a great source of that information, but we would love to be able to tell that, maybe through occasional emails out from the city.
Sure,
Maybe
we can run a series actually on it, throughout the year about notable people in that cemetery.
We would love that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no other questions, thank you, sir.
The rest of it's all written there, and I won't bore you with reading it.
Your packet's been distributed to the Board of Commissioners.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, I only have one agenda item. I wanted to mention the Mayor's Academy started last night. It was well attended. I think pretty much everyone attended the first meeting. It's very exciting to see. I haven't lived here my entire life. Probably 80 to 90% of the attendees I did not know. So we're getting a lot of new residents. Folks that work in the city that are going to start getting involved. So I was able to impart my 5 weeks of city manager knowledge on them as the interim. It was very enjoyable. It's going to go on until probably spring. And the mayor was able to speak and kick it off. He's a hard act to follow, but stumbled through it, and looking forward to it moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith. It was a very enjoyable night, and of course the commissioners also will get to speak to the Mayor's Academy. So it is really good, and we gave them a tour of the City Hall here, and some of their comments were quite interesting. I showed them Commissioner Ackery's former office where the ceiling had recently collapsed, so they got to see things like that. So, okay, continuing on down to the agenda, the new business consent agenda. Will the clerk please report?
An order authorizing the mayor to execute the deed and related documents for the transfer of real property identified as parcels 138, 353, and 366 of the Brent Spence Bridge project to the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Department of Highways. In order accepting the resignation of Douglas Todd Redman, Working Foreman, Stormwater Division, Public Works Department, effective July 31st, 2025. In order promoting Harold Cleet to the Working Foreman in the Stormwater Division of the Public Works Department, effective August 13th, 2025. In order accepting the resignation of Police Officer Jim Lindeman, Police Department, effective July 31st, 2025. In order approving the hire of Colton Williams as a Covington police officer, effective August 17th, 2025. In order approving the hire of Damon Hasner as a Covington police officer, effective August 17th, 2025. In order accepting the resignation of Cadet Colin Gibbs, Police Department, effective July 25th, 2025. In order accepting the resignation of firefighter paramedic Greg Kling, Fire Department, effective August 19th, 2025. In order approving the hire of Nolan Kresser as Grade 3 firefighter paramedic in the Covington Fire Department, effective August 25th, 2025. In order approving the hire of Landon Meyer as Grade 1 firefighter paramedic in the Covington Fire Department, effective August 25th, 2025. In order approving the hire of Brett Barnett as Grade 1 firefighter EMT in the Covington Fire Department, effective August 25th, 2025. In order approving the hire of Andrew Bunton as Grade 1 firefighter EMT in the Covington Fire Department, effective August 25th, 2025. In order approving the hire of David Carlin as Grade 1 firefighter EMT in the Covington Fire Department, effective August 25th, 2025. In order approving the hire of Mitchell Dye as Grade 1 firefighter EMT in the Covington Fire Department, effective August 25th, 2025. In order approving the hire of Carly Egbers as Grade 1 firefighter EMT in the Covington Fire Department, effective August 25th, 2025. In order approving the hire of Michael Lee Jr. as Grade 1 firefighter EMT in the Covington Fire Department, effective August 25th, 2025. In order approving the hire of Ethan Lebowski as Grade 1 firefighter EMT in the Covington Fire Department, effective August 25th, 2025. In order approving the hire of Sam McKee as Grade 1 firefighter EMT in the Covington Fire Department, effective August 25th, 2025. In order approving the hire of Matthew Murray as Grade 1 firefighter EMT in the Covington Fire Department, effective August 25th, 2025. In order approving the hire of Andrew Work as Grade 1 firefighter EMT in the Covington Fire Department, effective August 25th, 2025. In order authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with VS Engineering for the 36th Street and Park Avenue surface water runoff and improvement design. In order authorizing the mayor to execute a CDGB agreement with Eaton Asphalt for street and curb improvements at the intersection of Altamont Road and Highway Avenue. In order authorizing the mayor to execute a disposition and development agreement with Neighborhood Investment Partners for city-owned land at 609 Patton Street. In order authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Legal Aid of the Bluegrass to provide no-cost legal assistance to persons at risk of housing instability in the 8-home consortium cities. In order authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Northern Kentucky Community Action Commission to provide supportive services. In order appointing Donald L. Mays to the Code Enforcement Hearing Board for a 3-year term effective August 13th, 2025 and expiring August 12th, 2028. In order of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Covington, Kentucky, increasing the maximum authorized bond amount for the City of Covington, Kentucky's taxable industrial revenue bonds, Series 2022, Two Rivers Project from $13 million to $23 million, in authorizing the amendment of certain bond documents to increase the authorized bond amount, including an amended bond R1A First Amendment to Agreement of Lease, a First Supplement to Trust Indenture, a First Amendment to Bond Purchase Agreement, and a First Amendment to Home Office Payment Agreement, authorizing the execution of a lease recognition agreement and related documents in the accordance therewith, and taking other actions in furtherance thereof.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. May I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Ackrey,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Downing. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to formally recognize that Commissioner Downing joined us a couple minutes after the meeting started. Per the minutes, also, can we go to old business, second reading of ordinance? Item number 1, please. Will the clerk please report?
An ordinance amending the city's 2024-2025 budget, reappropriating and reapportioning the anticipated general fund revenue and the anticipated revenue of all other funds of the city of Covington, Kentucky for the fiscal year beginning on July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025 among the various departments and for the general and special purposes as indicated in the recommended all funds operating budget 2024-2025 to meet the expenses of the city of Covington, Kentucky for the said fiscal year.
May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Downing,
Go ahead.
I'll second.
second by the Vice Mayor. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Ackrey?
Aye.
Commissioner Downing?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Tebby?
Aye.
Mayor Washington?
Aye. May I have a motion tabling, or, excuse me, I'm sorry. Will the clerk please report? Item number 2.
An ordinance amending Section 112.05 of the Covington Code of Ordinances to utilize the city's Entertainment Destination Center license to establish the Covington Business District Common Consumption Area.
May I have a motion tabling this ordinance until the next legislative session?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Smith,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Downing. Can we do we need a roll call or do that? Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Will the clerk please report?
An ordinance renaming Holman Street to Holman Avenue.
May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Commissioner Downing,
I'll second.
Commissioner Tebby. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Ackrey?
Aye.
Commissioner Downing?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Tebby?
Aye.
Mayor Washington?
Aye. Will the clerk please report?
An ordinance vacating a portion of Washington Street in the Covington Central Riverfront site.
May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Ackrey,
Second.
second by Commissioner Downing. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Ackrey?
Aye.
Commissioner Downing?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Tebby?
Aye.
Mayor Washington?
Aye. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commission discussion items. Any commissioner like to bring anything to the floor? Seeing none. Commissioner comments. Any comments by any of the commissioner? Commissioner or Vice Mayor Smith?
Just a couple. The first thing that I wanted to say is everyone that came in for public comment, sincerely, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And the second thing that I'll say is I know at issue for a lot of folks is, what transpired on the Roebling Bridge. And we're all with you. When we saw what we saw, we had a lot of questions. And the only thing that I want to say now is we share a lot of those questions and we are very committed to finding answers. And we want to make sure that our city is safe. And we also obviously very much support our police officers. But just know that everyone in this room is very much so committed to getting answers and make sure we're taken care of. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Downing?
I think that Commissioner Smith summarized much of what I wanted to say, which was basically to thank those members of the community who come out for public comment. This is a bit of a unique circumstance, and so we've had more comments around this than we have other topics. But I really appreciate those who engage with us and let us know what your thoughts are, regardless of what the topic is, and I mean that. Our government runs because of the voices and because of the things that we're able to identify from up on the dais, but many of those things are identified through the public lens, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Downey. Anyone else?
I just obviously echo what they've said as well, so he spoke up first.
No other comments? Seeing none, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.